Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Gray Area. I am Mr. Bennett, aka Paul. Again, I don't have a working title, but I am the president of the Save and Be Nation. Salute to the bold, the beautiful, the beneficent, benevolent Ball Brotherhood of the BNE Network. I greet you in peace. I greet those who live follically free, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Grooming in Reviews, aka the Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka Paniotis. Yasu, my brother.
Yine si kaliter også på ben pame yine the kaliter right of the ponies or the hivya. In English, in other words, you're getting better at it. You're putting like a oof into it. You put a little nuts fat sack into it.
you, you, you see here now. See, this is how these international guys. This is how they get the American girls, because you guys can just you guys. It doesn't matter what the language is. You guys just roll it off, and the women are just they're just paralyzed. They're just they're like a deer in headlights when they hear you guys
In
speak.
our
So
defense, you have to understand this is our language, so we can just say it like English. If you guys went to Greece and said, "Oh, American," they'll
mm,
be attracted like they would think American cowboy, American movies.
yeah, but you understand there's a phonetic to it. I was
Of
talking about
course.
the African brothers on the Friday night show. You've had a lot of African American women who have married guys, especially from West
Mhm.
Africa, because a lot of these guys they're here on work visas or whatever, and when the visa runs out, they're about to go back. So how do they stay in the country? They find an American woman and they marry her, so they get a green card. And a lot of times these guys have wives back in Africa, wherever they're from. So but again, it's the voice, it's the linguic. Americans, especially that's why American women, they're attracted to like French accents,
Mhm.
Spanish accents, African accents, Greek accents. You put the proper, especially if you do any poetry in Greece or something like that to an American woman, you're definitely going to have some sway with them. So we just like Americans just like to hear those foreign accents and whatnot. So again, you're definitely going to have a leg up on us when when you do that.
Yeah, I would. They eat it out right out of hands once you start talking Greek.
That's
Like
it.
the fast. Like the first thing everybody always asks you when you meet, well, you really know Greek? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, can you say something? Like, yeah. I'm like, what do you want me to say? I'm like, it's like you put me on a spot like that. Like, I'm like, when somebody has to tell you something in English, they're like from a different country, can you speak English? Yeah, I'm
Mm,
from America.
that's it.
Say
That's it.
something. I'm like, what
Yeah.
do you want me to
Yeah, but
say?
I don't know how American comes off. I guess from my perspective, I don't know how American or American English comes off to other countries. That's something I like even here, like even British accents. Like for some reason, at least the perception wise here, if you speak with like a British accent, people either think that you're smarter or that you're more that you're more cultured or something like that. So again, that it just does something to American women when they hear even like I said a British accent. So I don't know how American comes off to someone who's not American. If it sounds romantic, if it sounds sexy, if it's whatever,
Cowboy.
because they may think, well, being American might mean I have money or something like that, but I don't know if other peoples are necessarily attracted to an American accent. And even then, what accent are you talking about? Because you have like Northeastern, you have your general English that you hear like on the media. You have your Southern accents, you have your Chicago West, Midwest accent, you have your California. So we have
Mhm.
so many different, even in the South, a Tennessee accent is different from an accent from Texas or something like that. So you never so no one even knows what where even here there's a lot of diversity. So I'd be curious to know, for anybody in the chat who comes from a foreign country, or even from your point of view, Pete, how does an American accent come off to a Greek person, not a Greek American, because again you're kind of used to it by now, but and that's going to be part of our show tonight. Tonight we're going to be talking about, again, back to the old country. So just want to give a shout out to the chat. Again, thank you for spending the Sunday nights with us. We know that, obviously Monday's coming up. You got to prepare for the work week. and whatnot. So I just want to recognize those who are joining us. CBN always. Yes, I'm snitching on you. I'm snitching on you guys because you guys denied me my Nigerian culture, my Igbo heritage. I was just on his show before I got on, and I called him to the carpet as well because you guys were trying to deny me my claim to the throne. So because of that, yes, I put the African brothers on blast. So but CBN for all you do for us in the back, for what you do to keep these shows flowing. Really appreciate you, brother, and all that you do for us. Stacy B79, thank you for joining us tonight. Anya, NA Kenya, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. NA Kenya, thank you for joining us tonight. Blaze McCrory, thank you again for joining us tonight. Thank you. You've been rocking with us since day one. I really appreciate you joining and coming on tonight. Now, a couple weeks ago, I didn't want to forget about you, brother, because a couple of weeks ago, you had asked a question on the show we didn't necessarily tackle. If you remember what that question was, please raise it tonight. I think today might be a better forum and environment for which to address it. But again, I don't want to leave anything. I don't want to leave anything out there. So if Blaze, if you remember the questions you were asking about me and Peter a couple weeks ago, if you could just drop it in the chat, or quickly go watch the show from a couple weeks ago and bring it back up. We'd like to entertain it because it was a good question. We just didn't really have the time to to address it. But appreciate you being here tonight, and because I know people got to get ready for work and everything. I know Peter and I, we have pretty demanding jobs, and so
Yeah.
our starts like 10 p.m. kind of starts the Monday workday, and I already kind of get in Monday mode and what I got to do for the week coming up. So
Yeah,
we
mine's 9:30 every day, 9:30 to 8.
that's it. That's it. Wow, 11 and a half hours a day, huh?
Yep, yep.
Wow. But yeah, so we're grinding here, but we do this because we love it. We do it because we enjoy it. We love the not only just talking to one another, but we love bringing this sort of content to the platform. And again, for those of you, if you would like to support us in this platform, you can see the link at the bottom, to our cash apps. But even without the cash apps, again, we have to say again, thank you again to BMU for giving us this platform and the ability to come here. So again, if you want to drop a super chat to the BMU network, by all means,
Please do.
please be in time to do that. Do so. Definitely, we want to support this channel and everything that he does for us. So you can support us individually, but collectively, you can support the BMU network. We all appreciate it because we all eating from the same table. So we really appreciate that. And I believe in grooming. I think you're also simul streaming on
Yes,
your
I'm streaming
channel,
also on my channel, Grooming
on his
Reviews
channel. So
101.
again, go and check out grooming and reviews. So he is the master. Again, I live follically free, as you can see. But anything in
I
regarding
gotta talk to you about that. You know,
grooming, and all kinds of things. She had a nice show. I saw your show on your supplement advice, and I think I follow a similar protocol that you do. So he puts a lot of good content on his channel. So definitely go by and visit grooming and reviews. And lately on his Wednesday show, he's really been tackling some pretty hard charging subjects. So he's pulled me into that conversation on an occasion or two as well. So so again, he's cooking, he's working, he's grinding, and
before
certainly
we
want
move
to
on,
see him go on.
oh,
Yes,
I
sir.
gotta say one thing before I move on.
Mhm.
3 things. First, I want to shout out to BMU. Thank you again. I can't appreciate it. Open the door for me. I can't thank you. Second thing, Black Gator, please don't fall asleep behind a keyboard again. Just do me a favor, don't fall asleep. And number 3, what is it gonna take me to get you to grow a beard? That's what I want to know.
Again, I try, and like back
A
in the
goatee at
day,
least.
back in my college days, everybody I was trying to do. We had what we call like the Imhotep type of beard. So it's right on your chin. Just lower my microphone a little bit. So on your chin, you wanted like a straight beard that was coming down. So I kind of rocked that a little bit for a while. Only got to about a half inch in length, but again, not a lot of hair. Then in the early 90s, I was actually laid up for a while. I was in an auto accident. So I figured, you know what, let me just grow a beard out. And it just didn't go well. It itched like crazy. I'm constantly picking out the ingrowns because again, with black hair, it's curly. So I had a ton of ingrowns and just trying to get it in. It was uneven. There were just bald spots like all over my face where there's just no hair follicles at all. And it just didn't look very good. Shout out to Lady Novoa. Definitely, thank you for
Everything she
joining
does,
us
she does
once
a lot.
again. and I'm praying for you, my sister. That your health is good, that you're good with you. But again, thank you for all the support that you give us. But praying that you stay healthy and you do what you need to do to stay around for a long time. So definitely thinking about you, and also thank you for sending that post earlier. Again, we're getting mentions on all these platforms here. We're getting mentions all over. So Friday, and Peter, you might want to kick this off from my last show with Father Constantino, which was a great show, a great dialogue, and I was very happy to hear on Friday night that we've made the news. So Peter, you want to take that one away?
So yeah, let me back to the story. So I didn't really get in detail on Friday the story. So on Thursday, I went out for lunch with on Wednesday. I'm sorry, last Wednesday I went out with father for lunch. Nothing crazy. He's had lunch and over. So he goes to me, I got to surprise you on Friday. I'm like, what's the surprise? He goes, you see. He goes to me, "Oh, all right, whatever. So Friday comes in, I get the email. I get an email a news email from for the church, that goes to all to the Orthodoxes.
Hmm.
Scroll down, start reading it. Scroll down, keep reading. Scroll down, like, wait a minute. Scroll back up. I know that guy. I know the other guy too. That's a surprise. We made the Greek news, and it was very pleasant and very honored. I'm shocked. I'm in it. Who expected, a hairy guy like myself would be in it.
Hmm.
So
Shout out to Lady Naveau. Just before you go on, just want to acknowledge and offer our condolences on the loss of your uncle. Yeah, I mean that's a bummer. When people go to sleep and they don't wake up. That's the reality of life. But certainly praying for you and your family, that your family receives peace in this difficult time, and that you guys are strengthened because of this, that you guys pulled together. So again, our thoughts and prayers are with you for what you and your family going through at this time. And a lot of times things happen in waves. Also, I've seen that as well. So definitely. Just wanted to reach out to you and your family on that. So you can go ahead, group. I just want to
yeah, before I
acknowledge her.
move on, anything you need, please reach out to me. I'll be whatever I can do. I'll help. Please let me
Indeed.
know. Yeah, we made the news. I'm actually very happy and surprised. To be honest, I don't know about you, but I was very surprised to see my.
I was surprised also. Well, it was like one of those good. I'm not a guy who likes surprises. I'm very kind of controlled like that. I like to kind of have
Mhm.
predictable outcomes. But that was a nice one, and I
Yeah,
I really what I really appreciate. I think we did what we said we were going to do. I mean, we had a call with Father on this the Friday before, and we just want to reassure him of the platform, the environment that he would be welcome in. And again, we want to have an environment where people are safe to have conversations. I think the major problem with the world how it is now is that we're not having real conversations with people for mutual understanding. Either we want to convert people to our way of thinking, but we don't want to listen. And one of the things that I really want to get into this platform, into this space that we have is give people the opportunity to be heard and to share their views, not to critique their views or to judge it, but really to so the fact that he felt good about his experience with us certainly gives me the support to say that hey, we welcome all peoples here. So again, especially if you come from a different ethnic perspective, the more ethnic you are, the more diverse you are, the better we like it. Because
yeah.
again, we want to learn more about our global community and our shared humanity with one another. So the fact that we can offer that sort of space and grace for him to feel comfortable, so much so that he would want to share that with other people, then I think we landed the plane the way it was supposed to be landed. And so that made me feel very good. And I'm glad that he felt comfortable, and certainly looking forward to having him and other folks come back and again share their perspectives. But I just found it fascinating. I had to go and kind of do my research afterwards more on the Greek Orthodox Church and just
Hmm.
um, just the different views that are out there. There's so many different views that are out there, and so that certainly made me do a bit more exploration on the topic. So, but yeah, that was some of the best news I got on Friday night when you shared that, and I
I
appreciate
do have a
you.
little more news for you, actually. When
Oh,
I had
more.
lunch, this is specifically for you. father said to me to deliver a message to you. If you said last time you like to read the Greek Orthodox Bible, and you want to get your
Yeah,
hands on one, he likes to send you one as a gift. Actually,
I would appreciate that greatly. I'll
yeah,
send you my I'll send you my information,
yeah, please
and
do.
so yeah, I would really appreciate that
Yeah,
for
don't
you to
worry, it's
send
in
me that.
English too.
Thank thank you. I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, man, does that means I have to go take a Greek class in order to get through this?" So I would really appreciate that. Thank you, um, uh, Chef Haristo. Chef Haris,
Efkaristo.
what's that?
Efkaristo.
F Haristo.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
F Haristo,
Yeah,
Father
you've
for
been studying. I'm impressed a little
I'm
bit.
I'm trying,
Shit.
man. Like I said, I got a couple. I'm just trying to build my catalog, build my little cheat sheet here for some common words and phrases. So I'm looking to add to this with each show, and that's the thing. You have to. So your homework assignment, you have to give me a word or maybe a short phrase that you have to equip me on, and I'll add that to the collection, and then you can then hold me to it the next time that I'm on that I've mastered it by that point. So I'm building a little Greek little cheat sheet here with some
Okay.
common words. So if I may find myself, who knows, if I may find myself in Greece in the near future, because again I know a couple people who actually went to Greece recently.
Hmm.
A good friend of mine, him and his daughter went out there for a week and show a lot of pictures. It looks phenomenal out there. So, when my wife and I decide to go on our global tour, when we kind of retired and we want to see the world or whatnot, definitely Greece is definitely going to be one of the destination stops that we're going to stop in on. So definitely looking forward to that. So some of these words and phrases here, they can come in handy
You
when
know,
I'm
a
when I'm
crazy idea just came in my head. If it was,
okay.
yeah, I know this is a crazy idea. I don't know if it's gonna work out, but imagine if we both can go to Greece and do a show live from
That
Greece.
would be well. If I'm going, put it this way: if the day I tell you I'm going, I think you would just pack up and say, "Up, sorry, I'm going." So
Yeah, I gotta talk to
that
my
would
boss. Like, Bob, if you're
yeah,
watching this, I might be taking some PTO time. Just FYI, I know he follows my stuff. Just FYI, I talked to you on Tuesday about it, maybe.
yeah. Well, but even if we did a show, even if I was in Greece and we just did a show from like, so I'm in Greece and you're in America, like how that would be. You want to talk about flipping the script, right? That would
Oh
be
God,
flipping.
yeah, we were
That
flipping
would be flipping the
it.
script. It's like, hey man, I'm here, man. Where are you? Yeah,
We
have
were
a
like
nice
back in the goddamn states.
backdrop there, and whatnot. I'm greeting the people. It's like, hey Peter, where you at, man? So hey, definitely something we could do certainly in the future. But for real, one thing I will commit to you on when the weather gets nicer, certainly when the summer comes out, let's do a show from my house and let's
Definitely.
do it like on my deck. I got a nice deck, table
Hmm.
set up and whatnot. We could do it outside on my deck, and we can definitely do something in that space. So we can definitely do a show together. Because one thing I envision just within the BMU network, what would be really fly if of all these people come on like on the Tuesday night show or the Friday barbershop. What if we can get all these guys in one room for one night
Oh,
only, we get this big old round table and we're just sort of in, or we get a if somebody has a barbershop that we can actually shoot in. So it's like, just like LeBron James, I know he had a show where they were doing everything in the barbershop. So again, we get all these guys in a barbershop and we got cameras and we got different
I know
perspectives and
somebody
everybody's
actually.
in there. That would be dope if we can pull that off. So
I know somebody.
BMU, Black David. So we're putting it out there in the space right now that we need to plan to have a show. And I don't care if it's in Texas or I'll come. If it's in Texas, if it's in Northeast or Midwest or whatever's convenient for most cats to get to. For us to get together for a show in the near future, especially when we get to we get to like 10,000 subscribers or 20,000 subscribers or something like that. Then yeah, we gotta come together and and,
Oh
and,
God,
and
yeah,
celebrate.
yeah. That's one thing I'm wondering now. Does BMU have enough room for his house for all of us to sleep in?
So yeah, I don't know, man. With all those kids he has, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
see
good
how he
point.
does it now. You need a mansion to have
Well,
six
I'm
kids,
putting out
man.
that I am not cooking. I'm taking it. BMU, you gotta be cooking. You gotta be a good. I gotta judge your food, man. I'm serious. Like you can't.
Yeah,
You gotta come to my level.
yeah.
You're
Speaking
here.
of
I'm here.
yeah,
We gotta come somewhere in the
speaking
middle.
of cooking, I just seasoned my first wok tonight. I admit, for those of you who are Asian, forgive me,
How'd
but
you do it?
I do stir fry pretty much every weekend. But I've always used like a non-stick kind of wok or
Mhm.
whatever. I never use like an authentic wok. So I just bought my first carbon steel wok, and I had to season that guy. It wasn't
Good
pretty.
bitch.
My house, all my smoke alarms were, even I had my overhead fan on full turbo mode.
It's a
Still,
bitch.
all my smoke alarms went off because you got to do it like 3 or 4 times. You got to blacken it. This thing was like, again, looked like, stainless steel, and now it's almost like pitch black. At the end. So it took me about a half hour plus to really get it going. And once I got it going, it was great. It was nonstick. It worked
Works
beautifully.
beautiful after
Uh,
once you actually
yeah,
season it and actually break it in
yeah,
or blacken it, like they say in this field, in my field,
right.
you're beautiful. Like that's why I tell people all the time, new cooks coming in, do not put it through the dishwasher. Don't wash it by hand, dry it immediately, and then
Yes.
put it back on a flame and get it back seasoned up.
Yeah, so that's what I did. So after first of all, I don't use any soap because the soap takes the seasoning off. So you don't want soap, but hot
Yeah, you
water
can
in
do
a
that.
brush, scrub it out. Then once I dried it off a little bit, I put it back on the flame, and I warmed it up a bit. Then I took just a little oil with a
Mhm,
paper towel, and I rubbed it, inside and out. It's still drying on stove right now, but it gets the more you season it. So like every time you use it, you put a little coat, a little layer on there to season it, but it seals in nicely. None of the food really stuck on the pan, so it performed just as good, if not better, than the non-sticks I've been using all the time. In fact, in recent years, I've been getting rid of a lot of my nonstick pans. I went back to either to stainless steel. I haven't gone back to cast iron yet, but stainless. I replaced all my Teflon type of pans. I got rid of all those, and I went back to stainless steel. I just got my carbon steel for my wok, and who knows? I may go back to cast iron at some point. But the only thing I never used to like the cast iron is that when it heats up, it expands and the
mhm.
oils or whatnot fall in, and then when you heat it up, the oils come back out. So it's like if you made eggs, if you made fish in it the meal before, you're gonna taste the fish when it comes out the other way. So I never liked using cast iron, but from what I'm hearing now, they're making those better now, where you don't have that expansion problem with the oils and whatnot seeping out of the pan. So I'm definitely looking forward to. I may have to invest in one next year, but yeah, definitely I'm getting off of the nonstick because I've replaced so many pans over the years. But stainless steel, carbon steel, I'm kind of going in that direction. But yeah, my house
If
is still
you
yeah.
if you season the pans correctly and take care of them over time, you should never have a problem with them.
Hmm.
Eventually, you gotta replace anything, and anything breaks down over time.
Hmm.
But in theory, you should be able to, just get them pans. You should get 5 to 10 years out of them easily if you
Hmm.
take care of them correctly. A nonstick, you should never put through the dishwasher. You should be washing them by hand.
Yeah, I actually we got rid of our dishwasher maybe 3 years ago, simply
Okay.
because I got my countertops replaced. And the thing I hate about a dishwasher is I was never satisfied with the cleaning performance. It doesn't matter how I arrange stuff or whatever. I always just prefer washing stuff by hand. So my dishwasher was seldom being used. And then when I replaced my countertops, I just never replaced it. So that's something that I've just never been a fan of using a dishwasher unless I'm only doing dishes. But if I got like pots and pans, if I got major stuff or whatever, I've never been a fan of using it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, but
Um,
in any event, certainly
let's get
onto our
let's get
show
into the
tonight.
store.
Yeah, yeah. So tonight's show, again, we're dealing with the idea, and again, next week's show is going to follow a similar a path. No problem, Ekane. Like I said, I'll definitely try to come on to your show and definitely see you next time. But thank you for stopping on through tonight, and we would love in certainly in the future show, we would love to get your perspective also, because as I was telling you on your show, not only are you Nigerian, it's like even as a Nigerian man, as an Igbo man, you have different views than say Black David, because the easy thing for people to do is says, oh, well, they're two Nigerians, but you and Black David
And
have
nah, they're different.
very different worldviews coming from Nigeria. So this is again some of the nuance that we want to bring into these discussions. In fact, maybe even a show where you and Black David come on and we ask you guys about again those different perspectives that are coming from Nigeria. We would love to have a show, but again, definitely I'll look forward to joining a show in the future. And again, thanks for stopping on through here tonight. I enjoyed your subject tonight, but but this show in particular, we're going to be talking about. And again, now this might be something where I may have to jump off because, as I said in a couple weeks ago when I was sharing my DNA, I'm all over the place, right? So the question for most ADOS African Americans, a lot of we actually we had one open line show. So I think the format now, since we're having very sort of precise conversations, where I think we're committed to once a month that we're going to have these open shows where people could just come on and join us for the conversation, open Q&A. Obviously, we're going to have guests on the show. But right now, we're kind of, this is about sort of exploring from an African American ADOS perspective and a Greek perspective. But again, we want to expand and we want to have multiple perspectives represented. So definitely that's something we're looking forward to in the future. And probably in a couple of weeks, we'll probably have an open mic show. But if you go back and look over some of the content that we've done so far, certainly your perspective would be certainly very welcome in this space, Ekene. So again, thanks for inquiring. But the idea for tonight's show is, and again, next week's show is going to follow somewhat of a similar pattern, but so I'm going to try to hold off as much as possible, not so that to have the shows overlap. But as I said a couple weeks ago, with my DNA, I'm spread out all over the world, pretty much.
Mhm.
West Africa, the Congo, been in Togo, Nigeria, 26% Nigerian. So again, I want my oh, that's real. I saw that. I wasn't sure if that was real or not, or she was talking about someone else. South Africa. Wow, that's pretty
That's
that's pretty
intense.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. So the idea here is like, for us, for most African Americans, we don't know where, and I don't have any South African DNA, by the way, but I have DNA from England. I have DNA from Scotland. I have Arabic from Middle Eastern DNA. So I'm spread out all over. So for me to go back to the home country, I'm like, what country are you referring to? Because I have about a dozen or so that's represented within my DNA chart. So I'm going to tailor tonight's conversation more so in somewhat of an interview style with
Do it.
grooming in terms of his experience. So again, we know your story up to this point. You were sent to Greece when I believe you were about 5 years old.
Yeah, around there.
About 5 years old. You were in Greece until you were about 15, 12 or
Yeah,
15?
yeah,
15?
yeah, 12, I think it was a little young,
About
more
12
younger.
years old. So again, 7 years in Greece. So basically, you grew up for the most part as a Greek person. You had to deal with some discrimination. You had to deal with
Of
some
course.
information, man. Good to see you tonight, brother. You had to deal with some obstacles there, being from America and some of the views that people had of you being there. But I think you kind of hit your stride after some time being in Greece for a period of time. There was a certain comfort level, and then all of a sudden your parents are like, "Up, you're coming back to America," or you might have been in America on a sort of like to visit the family, and they basically told you that you're not going back. I think that's
Pretty much. That's
yeah.
what I was. I
So
was
again, so that
here
was
to visit my parents. They're, yeah, you're not going back. Not like
mhm,
that, but you get the idea. And then one minute I was there, next minute I was involved in school. Like, what the hell
yeah.
happened?
Yeah. So you had that experience, but you spent 7 years there, so you got to see Greece at a certain point in time, and certainly since you've been an adult, I'm assuming you've been back there. How many times since an adult? How many times have you been back?
Twice only.
Twice. Okay, so we're going to tailor some of this conversation tonight based on your experiences going back. So what's it like
Mhm.
for a Greek, and maybe you can even speak from other Greek Americans that you may know, or people who've been here for a time. You go back to Greece as an adult. Start to contrast what it was from the time you left it when you were 12 years old to where it is now. How has Greek culture, how has Greek society may have changed since you were there last time, or even in the time that you've been since? So you've been there a second time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you want to tackle on first, from
Let's go over the first
12
one,
to that
actually.
first time that you
Yeah.
went, and then maybe we can talk about the second time that you went. How has Greece, in your views, how has Greece changed since you were there?
Dramatically. From where I grew up, I remember growing up. You knew everybody. You hanged out around a corner. You have fun. I was a kid at the time, so when I went back there, I was an adult. I was a smoker too at the time. I
Mm,
remember my best friend walking in. I was like, he comes in. Oh my god, you're here! He kisses me. That's how Greeks, introduce themselves.
mhm,
Above cheeks. You
mhm.
know, you know, and then next minute I know,
You don't have to do that when we meet, brother. Fist pound,
oh, but no,
throw
I'm not
throw
kidding.
a
No, no, no.
handshake, all that kind of stuff is good. We
Hang
don't
on,
have to do the kissing cheek
hang on.
thing for now.
You're right.
Maybe at your wedding. Now, look. When you get married or whatever, I may, especially, and it's obviously it's going to be a Greek Orthodox wedding, so
Mhm.
I'll follow suit at that point. I'll follow protocol
So let's
order.
touch base for a second. The kiss and the cheek thing a little bit, so people
Mhm.
understand that. People
And it's
do
a
that.
global thing. It's not just
Yeah.
Greece, right? I mean, France. I
No, it
mean,
is globally.
I've
You're
seen
right.
it all over the world being
Yeah.
done. Muslims do it. I mean, everyone. So it's not a
No, it's not global,
it's not
but
unusual.
people don't keep one thing in mind. I'm like, let's say me and you were friends, like me and my best friend George in Greece. I haven't seen you in 10 years.
Hmm.
That's when you greet the kiss thing on the
Okay.
cheek. It's not like it's gonna happen like every time I see you. Hey, Paul, no.
Hmm.
Keep
Hmm.
it distance. And like, hey, fist pound. I'm good with that. The whole, hug pound. That's it. And like, we don't need
Right.
like
Right.
the whole makeout section. Like, no, that's
Right.
BMU and Black David thing. That's their thing. They can keep that to themselves. But joking aside, seriously, like it's more like a family greeting thing of good friend stuff like that. Females is a little different. Obviously, you meet see them in a while. Okay, yeah, a little kiss and cheek is not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? They still
Hmm.
do that to here, I believe.
Hmm. Hmm.
I believe I do. But back to the original. So when I went back to the first time in Greece, I'm like, I got off the plane. I looked over. I'm not. And that sounds so cliche and weird. I literally put my hand on the ground. That's how much I missed
Really.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
because it brings memories back. This is my home
Hmm.
now. I tell people all
Yeah.
the time, this is my home. I'm not moving back to Greece. I'm a Greek American. I'm very proud of it.
Really? So you're 65 or 72 or whatever it is. You don't see yourself
No,
retiring to Greece, and so you're going to be buried here.
yeah.
Okay.
As much I would love to go back to Greece, I flirted with the idea a couple times.
Hmm.
The reason I never pulled the trigger is one, as much I know Greek, I'm not good at it as much I used to be because my
Mm.
primary language is English.
Mm.
I can have full conversation. I can even probably go on a Greek panel and have a conversation with people, but it's not the same. I'm still going to struggle a couple words here and there
Mhm.
because, excuse me, I'm not familiar with a couple of words.
Mhm.
You can probably hear my accent in Greek too, as sometimes in English my accent comes out once in a while, but it's not the reading. Forget it. Reading, something like I will need to study for a couple days, maybe a couple weeks probably
Right.
before I start getting the hang of it. And that's a whole. That's the biggest reason why
Right.
work.
But you read Greek content like on a daily basis, right? Like this Greek news and whatnot. Do you
I don't
how,
really.
how
I don't really, to be honest with you, because
okay. Okay.
I watch Greek videos all the time. I have Greek TV, last TV downstairs,
Mhm.
and literally I watch it daily with my mom. That's how I knew
Mhm.
the whole sex marriage thing happened. Or it
Mhm.
finally
Mhm.
got it finally went through. They've been fighting
Right.
that for years. That's how I
Mhm.
knew about it, and that's how we had that text conversation. For
Right.
people who
Right.
didn't know what was going on,
Mhm.
but same thing. Like things have evolved down there. Before time was back. Now we're like kind of like right together almost.
Mhm.
So when I went back there the first time, like I said, I put my hand on the ground because that's my home and that's my roots.
Mhm. Yeah.
As much this is my home, that's still my roots. You cannot
Yeah.
take that out of me. No way.
Right. Right.
So I remember just driving from the airport back home. I'm like looking around, I'm like, God damn, this place changed. I get there, I'm like, I didn't recognize my whole neighborhood. I didn't recognize half my neighbors. I'm like, who are these people?
Mhm.
I'm like, all right, whatever. So again,
Now, are these people, are they Greek,
yeah, they're
or
Greek
are
mostly.
they is it more, more multicultural now?
We have some different cultures. Trying to think which one it is now. I know that one of the Middle Eastern countries are next to us. Usually, they jump over to
Mhm.
find a better life for them.
Mhm. Is it like
And
Cyprus or something like that, or is it?
no, Cyprus actually is part of Greece. As much as they say it's not, they are part of Greece.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I try to remember the country name now. Damn, because you see some of the mosques around here and there. They pray and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Anyway, so we order some food because you jet lag, you want to eat something, you want a coffee, so, And I started seeing people learning I'm like, some people I didn't recognize. Some people I did recognize. Like, I remember you. You were a little girl. Now you're a
Hmm.
grown ass woman. Now you got my
Hmm.
attention.
Hmm.
But I remember walking over to church, and the church is still the same. Some of the priests are not,
Hmm.
and some people were talking. I saw one Father Alex were talking. Me, they're talking, and the lady who used to clean the house was Miss Anna. We used to call her.
Hmm.
And I go up to her, hey, Miss Anna, she goes, she looks at me. I know you. Yeah, I'm not as little boy as you remember, right? She goes, who are you? Like, she already, come on, you gotta recognize me. Let's go to her. Mr. Helen's grandson. She's thinking. Little Panayotti. She's thinking. The Greek American. Oh, you! I'm like, Jesus, you get a Greek American, but you don't get the other three out of them.
Did you have your beard at this time, or were you
I had a
mostly
goatee at the
clean
time.
shaven?
I only had a
You had a
little
goatee.
thin goatee back then.
Okay, okay.
So the same night, my mom calls my godfather, to play a prank,
Hmm.
and it didn't work well. And this is before we reconstructed our house.
Hmm.
So saying, hey, I heard water coming out of the house. Something's going on. Can you go please in the morning and check it? Yeah, yada. He comes that night. He goes, you fucking bitch. He screams out the house.
Whoa.
I'm like, my mom goes, oh, fuck, we're caught. My godfather was pissed and happy at the same time.
Mm.
He goes, my mom, he comes over, hugs us, and kisses us, and he goes, where's the fucking water? And that the fucking bitch was a joke, obviously,
Hmm.
because we had no AC. So we had
Hmm.
the curtains open, and we had the doors. We had a nice curtain coming in where how the
Hmm.
house is built.
Right.
So we're relaxed and chilling, and that's
Hmm.
where my godfather like, oh, you're playing a prank. You're not funny. You're not funny at 1 o'clock in the
Right.
morning,
Right.
because my mom called him late to play the prank because of time difference.
Hmm.
But she didn't forget to realize. Guess what? Um, you can hear the difference in the phone. So my godfather was like, wait, what's going on really here? So he went over
Hmm.
there and figured it out. And he's like, oh, okay, let's try. The next day, wake up, whatever, early in the morning. I don't know what the hell he has nothing better to do. Is my best friend
Hmm.
sitting in my living room having coffee, waiting for me. I
Hmm.
look over and like, you have nothing better to do? He goes, starts jumping up and down, hugging me. He almost tackled me through the door. I'm like, dude,
Hmm.
relax a little bit. I remember even going down to the same day, going down to the place. I used to go get it's like we call it funo, like a bakery almost, but there's mostly
Okay.
breakfast stuff like a cheesecake, or buach. It's like a
Hmm.
cream thing. I remember the
Hmm.
one I used to go to. It's not there anymore. I'm like, oh, nowhere to
Hmm.
go. I want somewhere else. It was okay, and it doesn't remember the same. The first thing I told my mom when I went there, and I'm not even joking you this, I'm gonna have gyros every night. Really? Excuse me? Yep, every single night. Guess what
Hmm.
I bought every single night?
Wow.
Gyros.
Right.
And if you say you think I'm addicted to gyros, yeah, I'm addicted to them.
Right.
I have a problem. I need to go to gyro rehab.
Now I know we're gonna have a show probably in the future talking about food, but how
Mm.
does a true authentic Greek gyro differ from what I may get in the States? If I go to, because as I told you last time,
I
most of
have a
the
solution to
diners
this
I
problem.
don't know why most of the diners I go to are owned by Greek people. I
Okay,
don't know
I
why,
have a solution. I have a solution to the
but
problem.
if I wanted to get like an authentic gyro, first of all, what the differences are, and then if I wanted like the most authentic gyro I can get, where can I get it where we're at? So in our area,
Okay.
where can I get it?
So the question I have for you before I even answer, how far are you from New York City?
About 45 to an hour, depending on traffic.
Okay, so Queens is about an hour then, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna meet in Queens one day. I'm gonna take you to a
Okay.
place called King Souvlaki. I'm gonna send you the link later.
Okay.
For any of you guys haven't checked it out, look out King Souvlaki in Queens. He has about 4 or 5 food trucks.
Hmm. Oh, it's a
I'm
food
just
truck. Okay, wow.
yeah.
All right.
Well, we're going old school here, buddy. We're going old school.
Right.
And he's been in that area about 30 plus years.
Mhm.
And I might be wrong on that. But that is the closest I ever had. I'm gonna actually send you the link right now. Maybe we can
Okay.
share it
All right.
because I'm gonna send it in the back check. Give me 1 second. So he better freaking give me some free drivers next time I see him because I'm promoting his business online here.
Throwing some businesses way, right?
Yeah, there
Free
you go.
advertising
If
there.
you
Yep.
wanna
Awesome.
share it.
Yep.
Okay, that is the closest thing. So Giga, let me. I can't hold back. I got to talk about it so much right now. So a gyro is made a certain way. You got your pita, your tzatziki,
Right.
your meat, your onions, your French fries. Then you got your seasonings. Every place has a little different, but most of it is like oregano, lemon juice, and pepper. Those are the three main ones.
Mhm.
But the meat makes a difference. How you can prep meat. And here's the
Right.
thing: what people don't understand in Greece, the food in Greece is no steroids.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why the meats are like, say you want a pound, let's say, of lamb chops. You're
Mhm.
paying 80 to 90, maybe $100 a pound. I'm
For
not talking
lamb?
about for lamb chops.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
because it's organic.
Mhm.
Let me phrase that organic. I hate using that word. It's more natural versus
Right,
going
they're not
to
using the steroids in the whole, in
bingo.
the meat.
Thank you.
They're not beefing up the animals
Exactly.
to get more
Exactly.
product out of them.
Exactly.
Wow.
We still have butchers in Greece.
Mhm.
They're starting to die out now because
Yeah, they
supermarkets.
are. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, even in Greece, they're starting to die now. But we still have good butchers around. No,
Mhm.
not me. We used to have them every few corners. Now you might have
Right.
it every few blocks.
Now,
I think
is lamb? Because I thought, like, isn't lamb like what's the staple meat, if you will? If Greece has one, what is it? I
I'll
would
probably
have
say
thought it would
lamb.
have been lamb.
I'll probably say lamb too. They just
Lamb.
don't
Okay.
have like a meat like here. Let's say turkey is the meat that we're known for. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
when I think America, I'm thinking Thanksgiving. I'm thinking turkey.
Right.
I would say lamb if I had to pick anything. If there's no real staple, I'm not gonna sit
Mhm.
there and tell you yes or no to that.
Mhm.
Lamb's one of them. Now, if you tell me you're a vegan in Greece, good luck. You're not gonna survive a week there. No way.
Okay, so there's not a lot of vegan options.
It's almost
It's
zero
weird
options.
because a lot of the diets here, like people always talk about like the Mediterranean diet here,
Mhm.
and a lot of them have vegetarian options to them. It's like
They
meat
have it
is
as an option, but they're not
right,
vegan. Two different things. Vegetarian and vegan are two different. People don't understand that. Let me.
right. Well, yeah, no dairy or anything, right?
It's
Because
no
a lot of
animal
the
products.
sauces, yeah, the
Yeah,
sauces and whatnot, they have animal fat or
milk
cheese
or
or something like that.
yep,
Yeah, milk.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. Okay, okay. All right. So you're there. So you're there.
Mhm.
you're 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 noticing that there's changes to the neighborhood. There's a lot of the stores and locales that were there when you were younger that are no longer there. But talk a little bit more about the social mores in Greece since you were once there. How people what their attitudes are when it comes to cultural issues. I know recently, again, we talked about, they had legalized, I think gay marriage there.
Mhm.
But just from your experience, like the opinions and attitudes of Greek people, have they changed a lot since you were there? Are they a more open society? Are they more accepting? Are they more private and closed off? Were they warmer when you were there? And now people are more to themselves there. Give us a perspective in
Greeks have
terms of
always been
just
very
okay,
open people. They're very gossip people too, and that's what I hate about them.
gossip. Okay, okay,
Yeah. My mom will go to at first when I got my first two tattoos was the Greek, the Chinese letter here and the Greek flag here.
okay,
And
okay.
I remember saying, "What are people gonna think of you?" Like, I don't give a shit.
What you got those in Greece or you got those here?
Oh, I got them here.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but she was worried when I go to Greece what people think of me. I don't
Hmm.
care.
Hmm.
Didn't give a shit to me. Never did. Never
Hmm.
will. The
Hmm.
reason was because I'm gonna be me,
Right.
the Greek American. Panayotis slash Peter slash Grooming Review slash Ghost of Sparta slash the craziness. Did I miss anything? No, I got it. But I don't care. But people have been always open.
Hmm.
Here, Greek Americans are different. They're very closed a little bit. And like, like I remember when I started coming more and more to church, people knew of me, but they don't know of me yet. They see the
Mhm.
hair, they see the beard, they see the tattoos. Who the hell is this guy?
Mhm.
And people come out, hey, I'm Pete. And I'm like, yeah, I know who you are. We met a couple years back. They're like, really? I'm George. Like, a couple years back, you just don't recognize me with the beard. I'm older,
Mhm.
grayer,
Right.
and taller and fatter.
Mhm.
And people are like, so now they're accepting me again. And I'm like, you shouldn't have to accept me how I look. You should accept me the
Mhm.
way I am. Was in
Mhm.
here, now what's out here.
Mhm.
Please correct me if I'm wrong if you think anything otherwise. I'm be happy to hear your opinion on it.
Well, again, I want to save. I also want to save some of this because again, next week's show, we're going to dial this in on what I call Americanization.
Yep.
The idea of
You're right.
today's show
You're
is
right.
going to
We're
be
gonna
more
hold
so
that.
focused on how Greece has changed. Next week's show, I want to focus more on how you have changed. Or for the typical Greek American when they go to Greece, like what are some of the things that you see that the way a Greek American would view something versus a person who's born and raised and lives in Greece. So I want to nuance the next two shows. Again, it's going to be a nuanced conversation. So I want to stay on this track about you going home. I want to deal with, just to give the agenda, I want to deal with the people. And again, how the people in Greece, from your perspective, how they may have changed since you've been there, how the society has changed, even how it looks, how the landscape is it more technically advanced? Are there skyscrapers? Are there, just how people move in the society? So this particular show is you go to Greece and the things in particular, the things that you find the strangest. So you go there, it's like, wow, that's very different from the experience that I had. So I want to stay in that space. You go home. Is this in
Mhm.
fact? Does it feel like home when you got there, or does it feel like a very different place? Next week's show, we may get into the reasons why that may be, in part because you may have changed. But I want from the Greek perspective, what is different about Greece in 2000? What year was that when you went there first
Early
time?
2000s. The second one was was probably right after the Olympics, so it'd be around 2005, 2006. The first time, the second time was like mid 2000s. So 2010, I want to say the last time around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's fast forward. So if you want to do a contrast to when you were there between ages 5 and 12, and what that culture is like now, move it forward to where you're at. When you went the first time and when you went the second time. And then also now, do you plan any trips in the near future? Do you think in
You
the
bet your
next?
ass, yeah, I am.
Okay, I'm just I'm saying, but the next couple years you're going. Is it? Or you and your mom going, or
I'm
what's
not sure
the
the plan is because her cancer is a big factor. That is
right?
a
Okay,
big factor.
okay,
Obviously, Alex is not a big deal. He's coming with me. He has a Greek name, so he can get into. You won't no border control. Like you don't always
right,
stop at Alexander the Great, right?
right.
um, but it's funny
So
you said
again,
the analogy. I want to
yeah,
touch base on that really fast for a second.
hmm
When I left Greece, cell phones weren't really a thing. If you needed somebody, to go, you called home, called the house,
hmm
a house phone. That's all you had.
hmm
Now going to Greece, I see everybody having cell phones.
hmm
At the time, cell phones were worse there than here. Okay,
But say that again.
cell phones were worse there in Greece than it was.
Worse there. So you had more people who had cell phones in Greece than in the U.S., or their
Yeah,
use of cell phones was in Greece more so than the U.S.
yes. So I want to touch base on it 1 second. The
Okay.
reason I do that. So early 2000 texting wasn't a thing yet. It was around, but it
hmm
wasn't a thing. If you remember, early 2000s were more next to the walkie-talkies. That was a thing at the time. In Greece, texting was everything. So because texting was more easier and cheaper to communicate with somebody versus calling, because calling costs money. It's
Right.
a lot of people didn't get a contract phone. They all got prepays.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Now, just
because
in terms of phone service in Greece, is there
Mhm.
is there like one major phone provider, or do they have like multiple companies that offered? Like here, you had AT&T, and you had
it was
back
one or
in the day,
two
you
at a
had
time.
MCI, and you
Yeah.
had Verizon, you had all these different entities and whatnot. But in Greece, did everybody was it a private service, or was it like a national service that provided the the phone coverage, not the cell phone, but just the regular phone coverage.
At the time, it was one that I knew of.
One.
Was
Okay.
just a basic phone company that everybody used. That's all I knew of. That's all
Okay.
I see on TV. That's all I can answer that. I am going to actually get back to you with that again next week because I want to
Okay.
ask somebody I know in Greece. Not my mother, actually. My Greek brother is down there.
Right.
I know some are watching, and if they are watching, hit the comments. Let us know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I'd
yeah,
love to know that.
yeah. So back when I was in Greece, you know what you can get was two ways: your house phone or a pay phone. And the pay phone, you couldn't put quarters in. Here's the tricky: you had to get a credit card. All right.
Okay.
And that credit card wasn't a credit card you go, swipe, get gas or something like that. It
Right.
was
Right.
a
Specifically
Metro
for the
card.
phones. Right. Right.
Yeah. And we call Metro the phones there, of course.
Hmm.
So you plugged it in and you made your phone calls.
Hmm.
They started doing that because every little punk ass kid like myself, I didn't do it. I mean, punk ass as a kid, of course.
Hmm.
A lot of kids used to break them and take the money and go buy
Take the
candy.
money out. Yeah. Yeah. That used to
So,
be a thing there also. Yeah. People would break into the phone booths and take the
yeah,
that
they
was a thing
passed
in
a
some
law.
communities. Yeah.
If you do that, it's a federal offense.
Federal.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's how serious it got. Mom was like, "Oh, I never did it. I just asked money for my grandmother. She
Hmm.
goes, if you want something, ask for it. Don't
Right.
steal because that's a sin."
Hmm.
Okay, so I saw that. The second thing I saw, and I knew they were building it. It was the metro. The
Hmm.
metro was underground. It literally was literally. This is my house. Here's the metro. It was literally under my house at
Under the
one point.
house. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and, I was like worried, like how's it gonna collapse when they're digging it, or I'm gonna feel shakiness?
Right.
Nothing. And then they build a Greek version of a mall. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I'm
So
like,
prior
okay,
to that, when you were there, you didn't have malls. They had like there's local shops and stores and
another
whatnot.
shop.
They didn't have.
You didn't go to Gucci to get clothes. You didn't go to Nike to get sneakers. You don't go for those high brand because you can't afford it. That's an American thing, name
Hmm.
brand thing. You
Hmm.
go get whatever you can afford. Like most of my clothes was a local place around the corner
Hmm.
or down the street.
Hmm.
I'm like, you didn't buy like the closest biggest thing that ever opened around my house. I don't remember the name of it. I'll be honest with you. It was a beauty place that I used
Hmm.
to go get a few things that for men and women. I used to buy
Right.
cologne, like Axe, for a good example. I knew Axe before Axe became into America. Axe was popular in Greece before it
Wow.
came
Okay.
here. I
Okay.
remember using that stuff. I'm like, when it came here, ooh, Axe. I go, I'm like, doesn't smell nothing that I remember.
Right. Okay.
I'm like,
So just to stay on that same path, his a specific question. Okay. Imports. So the idea that you had again, you didn't have the Nikes and whatnot. So do you
hmm.
think by the time you went back there were a lot more imported goods there from when you were there the first time? So again, sneakers you would or most of the clothing and merchandise what you get, was it like local brands that people had there, or was it more imported from China or from surrounding countries where you would get your clothes and whatnot?
So I want to say literally both. So the that you were going to a local store, yes, you probably still see a Nike brand, but
Hmm.
you're not gonna be like high end Jordans or anything like that. You buy like the $20-$30 ones you're looking at.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like what you probably won't see a lot of people use those. You probably will see only people who can really, they're really struggling buying those shoes, kind of
Hmm.
thing,
Right.
like a Payless shoe kind of thing.
Right.
If that makes sense to your
No,
question.
no, it does. But having said that, now one thing that they do in America here, I know for instance, a lot of goods that are sold in Europe are much cheaper than they are here in the U.S. It's almost like the fact that it's sold in the U.S., the markup on the brand, like we used to talk about all the time how like a lot of the cab drivers, like in Europe, they're all driving like Mercedes Benz or Audi or something like that. Here,
They-
that car's like 80 or $90,000. I'm like, I know that cab driver in Europe isn't spending that kind of money to get a taxi. So it seems like the price tag just coming to America, the price tag goes up versus these other countries. So it wouldn't surprise me that a lot of those shoe brands that you're talking about are probably still a lot of the same ones that we sell that are here, but because it's America, they jack up the price. So it wouldn't surprise me at all that if I went to Greece and if I wanted to just get some basic clothing, I could almost get like the same clothes. Appreciate you, Reckless. Thanks for stopping through. um, probably a lot of the same clothing for like a fraction of the cost, or if I went there, probably unless I flash, like I wouldn't wear this shirt in Greece, for example. Because I wouldn't want to stick out like an American because people would just try to gouge me just because I was an American being there. But it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of those brands were available, but at a much cheaper cost because it's in Greece versus here.
So to be 100% frank with you, you wouldn't be executed wearing a shirt like that in Greece. You'd be more executed if you were in like a racist shirt, like a KKK on your shirt, for
No,
example.
no, I don't mean
No.
actually. I don't mean necessarily about. I'm like, if I flash my American,
Okay.
then the perception may be that, oh, this guy's got money. And because the guy's got money, then again, for something that
You got a
they
good
may
point there.
sell it, they may sell it to you for $5. They may sell it to me for $10 or $15. Because again, especially if you're dealing with street vendors or whatever, they look you up and down. They can tell who the foreigners are and who's not. And I've heard this in other countries also, how a lot of them will, oh, American, oh, there's almost like a price tier if you're from America or from Europe or something like that. So for me, I would be very careful in terms of not necessarily putting USA on my lapel and just let people know, yep, American here. So I just wouldn't want that kind of attention. I'm already going to stick out enough just with my complexion, so I don't need to, I don't need to exacerbate it even more with brandishing my country's flag on top of that. So I
Um,
don't want that kind of attention.
yes, you're right. If they find out you're from the States, they're gonna think two things: you're a cowboy or a badass, and the third one, you have money. Which one?
Yes.
All three. So would I recommend flashing your USA? No. But
That's what I want.
if you were around me, you have nothing to worry about. Like I would have put that guy right in his place. Like, yo, Malaka,
Yeah. Yeah.
chill out. Like,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I go somewhere else. We can take our business somewhere else.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Right. So let's so
But
let's so back to the yeah. So
yeah,
back to the again, shopping for goods
yeah.
and services. Finish that point. We go on to the next one.
So back then it was like more. Then the other thing opened the beauty supply. Then the one that blew my mind up was they opened a CD store. Wait a minute, CD store. I remember just burning my CDs through each other. Like one body bought a CD from a store. You had to drive like 20, 30 minutes away. It was a local
Hmm.
shop,
Hmm.
a music shop. I'm like, now I'm getting curious. Like, what the hell happened here? What happened to Greece? I remember. Kind of like that's a place everybody used to go hang out. I remember all my friends, like, we used to hang out at each other's house. Like, no, we hang out at the CD store now.
Hmm.
Really? I'm like, why there? He goes, I have nothing else to do. All right. That's what Greece became.
Yeah.
The America intershipped Greece slowly. What we know
Okay.
shopping here became into Greece because it's all money.
Right. Right. Do they have like major brands, like are there like Walmarts out there or Targets or similar
Yes,
kind of super the
similar.
idea
So
of like the superstore or the
yes,
supermarket
they have a
is
couple of them actually. The couple of like they're called supermarkets, if you say, and that
mhm,
is store. They also actually before Uber Eats was a Uber thing or Instant Eats or whatever you want to call it. They
mhm,
used to pick up. You used to pick up your phone, call them, and tell them what you want, and they will deliver to your house still back then.
mhm,
And you just had to pay them in cash when they get there.
mhm.
So and nobody abused it. That's how it was back then.
Right, right.
Now, obviously, people abuse it. They probably have to use a credit card or something like that.
Mhm.
So, and now you had the other stores like I call it the Greek version of a Best Buy. You have stores
Right,
like
right,
you know
right.
Kosos, like it's a all electronics in there,
Mhm,
from washers to dryers to PlayStations to TVs, whatever.
mhm.
Like, do you see an 85-inch TV? Like I have up on the wall right here
Right, right,
in Greece in the home. You got money. You got money. That means
right,
85 inches is not going to see it in Greece. No way.
right. Right. So definitely you having the again the mall concept or the big chain stores. What kind of effect did that have on the local, again, the mom and pop store or the
Start shutting them
local?
down.
Yeah, yeah,
Start shutting them down. There a
yeah,
lot of places went out of business fast.
That seems to be and I've seen that phenomenon, especially like in, again,
Here, yeah.
India and parts of Asia and whatnot,
New York,
especially when
for
they.
example.
What's
Let's
that?
use New York. Let's use New York, for example, where I know very well. I used to go down to Manhattan, and there were so many mom and pop shops, things that
Hmm.
you could not find in a main brand. But you went
Hmm.
to a mom and pop shop, you found something unique clothing, unique shoeing, unique stuff.
Hmm.
Now, what's unique about our clothes? They're all the same shit in a day. They're cheaply made with a high dollar signs,
Hmm.
and you may get a couple years out of them if you're lucky. If you're lucky.
Right. So the quality, definitely they're moving more towards, I guess, consumer ism
Bingo.
or
Bingo.
mass purchasing, but not
Mhm.
necessarily the quality merch. But I think, at least from my perspective, I mean, I remember we had all those things even growing up, like in the 70s. Like, you had the mall, you had the big chain store. Like for us, it was like Woolworths or Bambergers or Macy's, or in fact, that used to be like a big thing. Like on Saturday, we would uh get take the bus or drive into Newark, if not New York. Newark downtown was pretty bustling, and you would go to those places, but you still had your locals. But I think in these other countries, I think those guys seem like they were more heavily impacted, because, again, that's just something that is, like I said, it's like a new concept. And it's not something that's so readily available. So when a Walmart or something similar decides to drop in a community, in fact, some of these countries, some of these locales, they refuse to let these folks set up shop, because they understand what they're going to do to the local economies, and it's just going to be detrimental to those individuals. Even though now the consumer, at the end of the day, they're saying, hey, consumer gets more choices, they have more variety they can get. But what it does to the locals is something that a lot of these places said, no, we are not letting Walmarts, we're not letting these super chains and big mall type of places in, because and it wrecks for a lot of these places, they believe that it wrecks the culture. Like,
It's
again,
true.
the idea of having that exchange of barter, of people who, you went to a place to get something, like some pants or a suit made or something like that. You would get it, like they would like do it personally, like they would measure you and make a suit for you. Um, in a lot of these places. Or I know some guys went to Italy, they get, like, they'll make custom shoes for you in Italy, like on the fly, like they'll measure you and everything. In 2 or 3 days, you come back and your shoes are ready. I mean, that kind of interaction with people, that kind of local commerce, that made it was like a shopping experience that certainly even tourists go for. But it's like when you get these mega stores, it just really, it seems like a lot of these places are losing something. Is that something that you noticed when you were there, that you
Absolutely.
felt like a sense of community that was lost
Absolutely.
because the big brand and everything is big and everything is just, you don't have that sense that everybody is supporting? Because even here, the big thing is they support local businesses. There've been campaigns here to say, don't go to the mass, find someone local who can take care of your dry cleaning, or your tailor needs, or something like that. I mean, there's definitely a big push to try to support those guys.
So I remember you can go to a store and negotiate the price a little bit if it's a little too pricey, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Or if you're looking for a specific item, you could find it anywhere in the neighborhood. Now, if you're lucky, I mean that, if you're lucky. So a lot of it is, man, brands. And from my conversations with a lot of my buddies, a lot of them are also doing online shopping too now.
Hmm.
I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah.
Hmm.
Online shopping's taking the world over. We all know that, of course.
Right. Now,
But
did
when
Greece at
the
some time, did they have their own sort of local version of online shopping, or was it always like one of the big guys like Amazon?
Amazon a big shop, and there's some other ones, stuff like that.
Mm.
But what really broke, I realized that they're struggling more than ever.
Hmm.
I went to a bar, have a drink, and I realized, some of the guys are coming out. Now, it wasn't a bartender, like say, almost even a host. He's trying to get you to go to that bar. not before you go to the other bar down the street.
Yeah.
He's running. How many you guys are? I'm like, because we're like, my friend goes, no, keep walking, dude. I'm like, why? He's just asking the question. I'm like, no, wait, just watch. Again, I was away from Grisham. And like, how many? Like, the fuck? What you did? 3. Keep moving, Pete. And I'm like, what's going on here? They paid these kids to literally stand in the street to grab groups of you. Bigger the group, bigger the bill, obviously.
Yeah.
To go to that bar or to that coffee shop. I'm like, oh, that's how they do it now. I'm like, yeah. Before they didn't care because all the coffee shops, all the bars are always full.
Yeah.
That's one thing about Greeks. They're always at a coffee shop or at a bar. And now they're struggling to get even people in there because now you have like what was that? Rock something. You know what I'm talking. They were all over the place at one time here. The bar. You know what I'm talking about, Paul.
Bar. What bar?
They were in Vegas. I know, big time.
Oh, like Planet. I don't know, Planet Hollywood, or what's the other? I know what you're talking about. I can't recall off the top of my head. But yeah.
We're both old. That's why. Yeah. So if those are coming in and taking over, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
And they're slowly taking over.
Right. Hard Rock. I think Hard Rock Cafe.
Hard Rock. Yes, thank you. Yeah. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Because I was going to my cousin. I go, I was in the mood for like a Long Island iced tea. Do they know how to make it here? So I went there. I didn't know. Like, that's the American drink. Because he goes, actually, yeah, there's only one bar that makes it in the area. He goes, the Hard Rock. I'm like, what? I'm like, when she said the name, I'm like, you're messing with me. So I thought she was pulling my chain the whole time. So we're going ahead and enter Athens now. We meet a couple of her friends. We get a drink. We're talking. And it literally walked in a Hard Rock. I'm like, and I looked at the menu. It was American food. I'm like, wings and all that stuff. Like, they know how to cook this shit? And I'm like, I don't want to be a smart ass. I wasn't even a cook back then. I'm like, they know how to cook this shit? Okay, I'll let it go. Then I saw Pizza Hut.
I was going there. Yeah.
Yeah. Domino's wasn't there yet. I don't know if they're now, but that was Pizza Hut. The main one right there. The other ones, I remember when I walked down the street, the first time I saw McDonald's. I'm like, at the mall, I'm like, this KFC, McDonald's, Burger King. I'm like, am I the guy that in Twilight Zone? What happened to the old school shit I'm used to?
Yeah.
I'm used to like a guy.
So again, fast food chains, franchises so you're looking at the landscape, especially in a city like Athens. Gone are the mom and pop stores, a lot of the local bars and restaurants, and now you have the chains and whatnot. And those are fairly readily accepted, because I would think that, like, in some places I remember my wife and I went to Jamaica, and they had a KFC there, and apparently Jamaicans love KFC. That's like one of the few chains down there that actually is successful. They don't have like a lot of McDonald's or whatnot, but KFC sells down there. But I know they had to change the menu, where they actually had to put jerk chicken on the menu. So again, you can't get jerk KFC in the States, at least not that I know of. Someone knows a place you can get jerk, but in Jamaica, KFC sell jerk chicken. And
that makes kind of sense, to be honest.
It does. So even with these restaurants, these chains, are there localized? Have you seen like localized items on their menus that is more caters to the Greek culture? Like, is there a McGyro, for example? Is there?
I can't speak about McDonald's, but it was one of the first local food fast food joint that I know. It was a local place, but it was called Goodies. Goodies was a Greek version of Burger King / McDonald's.
Right.
But they do it in a little twist, of course. We have to do it our own way. So when you order in, you don't get the paper bags. You don't get the trays like that. You get a real plate. You get real silverware to sit down and actually eat.
Right.
And for you to go eat by yourself, that's never happening. They even sell other stuff like macaroni and kima, pasta with meat sauce. It's a burger place, but it's selling pasta and meat sauce.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
because that is
sending
but is that a popular food with Greek people? Pasta and meat sauce? Is
macaroni
that
macaroni mi cama is a very popular
okay?
dish.
Okay.
It's
So
not
yeah,
like
so I'm
what
saying
you
so that,
thinking.
yeah.
It's a bolognese. Think of bolognese, but with
Yes.
Greek
Yes.
herbs, pretty much. That's the
Yes.
best way I can
Yeah.
explain it.
Right.
I guess I need to start shipping you FedEx and food over to your house.
Hey, that's good. Hey, when you come over, you can bring me some dishes that I'll
I gotta send you pictures. We're actually cooking spanakopita tonight. It's
okay.
spinach pie.
Spinach pie.
And
Okay.
everybody heard from my job, and my boss goes to me, "Listen, I'm half terrorist. If you don't, I'm blowing you up." I'm like, "Shit!"
You gotta
Like,
bring you gotta make one for you and one for the office. That's how it
oh
works.
Jesus Christ, you look extreme there, dude. Relax, relax. I'll bring you a piece. Don't worry.
Yeah, yeah. But the
Oh
people
shit.
but the people for the most part embrace it. Because I know like there's some places like I hear France like very even though they're there, they're very, francophone when it comes to food. Like they hate like hamburgers and things like that. Like if it's not like real French food, so there's like almost like a rejection of the Americanization. But the people there, they mostly adopt and accept these franchises and changes in foods. Because I'm sure a lot of these foods weren't even like was a hamburger even like a popular item?
No,
Just
but
like
pizza
if I was
was.
in Greece when you were there early on, it's like, you know what? I feel like having a hamburger. Could I
No,
easily just go and get one? Was that a popular food to grab, or
no,
is it a
no, but like pizza was one of the most popular between gyro and pizza. The two most things you call to get delivered. But pizza
right
was
now?
made with
Settle
a
now.
twist.
Now, I'm sorry. I'm just spitting that as you're
Yeah, yeah,
talking.
yeah.
Now, pizza. I heard that it didn't originate in Italy, but it originated in Greece. I don't know how true that is, but it's like it's not
It's
a
true,
lot of
actually.
foods that are attributed to these countries. I heard pizza actually originated in Greece, but I
Yeah,
can't.
I actually got in this argument about a week or two ago with my chef. We got in a screaming match about this.
Mm.
And he goes, and he's one of those chefs that he thinks he knows everything. Yeah. Okay. So, and I went to him like, yo, fun fact, do pizza was originally from Greece? He goes, no, it wasn't. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Greece is actually made in America.
Oh,
Seriously?
geez.
You're one of those. Okay.
Mm.
So Greeks grabbed the pita, same thing you use
Right,
for a gyro. They
right,
added little veggies on it and they just roasted it, and that's what they
hmm
call pizza for them
right.
in ancient times. Now let's hit the time machine and go. Let's say 1998, for argument's sakes. When I used to order pizza, that wasn't pizza to me. There's no marinara on it. You know what I'm saying?
hmm Yeah,
And I want to touch this quite Blaze in a second because I have a reason in a minute. So, but it was like fresh tomato with cheese.
yeah.
That's what's pizza to them.
hmm
I'm like, and when I bit into it, it didn't taste the same to me. Now, that's why I want to eat a pizza when I'm in the mood for it. It's
hmm
pretty much a garden pizza. You think of it with no
Right,
marinara.
right. Well, it's basically like the flatbreads. I mean, that's the thing too. You have your pizza and you
Similar.
have your flatbreads,
Yep.
people make that distinction.
Yep. And the pizzas, a small Domino's slash Pizza Hut pizza was a
Mhm.
large for Greece. You never get the was it 12-inch, I believe it is, or 16-inch. I can't remember. I always
A
mix those up.
large is typically 16 to
16.
18
You'll
inches.
never find that in Greece.
Mhm.
Then like the 10 inches. I'm right. The 10 inches is the smallest one you get from
Right, right,
Domino's. That's
right.
the biggest you can get, and that will
In
fill
Greek.
probably a good family, only of three.
Now that's from the Greek perspective, but I mean, if there's like an Italian immigrant in Greece or like an Italian
I
restaurant,
throw it in my head.
they would probably still make a large pizza, right? Or they would only make like a 10-inch pizza.
I assume they'll make it 10 inch. It will follow the norm in there.
Okay, okay.
So even Pizza Hut came in. They now make the big pizzas too. Remember back in the 90s, they used to make the was it 16-inch too, I think. Am I mistaken? Yeah, they
Oh, you
did.
had your well, I think you had
The
your
jumbos, they
large
called them.
extra, you had large, extra large, or jumbo, or whatever they call it. I think the jumbo might have been like an 18-inch pie. I remember that back
Yeah.
in the day.
So Pizza Hut didn't do that in Greece. They only made the 10-inch. That's it.
Mm, wow.
Like the stuffed crust, that was one of my favorite ones from Domino's. They didn't make those. No
Mhm,
wings on the menu. Garlic bread, I think they had. I can't remember that much, to be honest with you.
mhm,
I was a little younger at the time too.
mhm,
But you didn't have like all this extra stuff like we have here. It was like
mhm.
This, a Athens Pizza. How can I help you? Okay, can I get let's
So I
say
want a
2
large
pies?
pie. I got 5 people over here. We want 2
Yeah.
large pies.
And most
Someone
pizzas
drops them off. We get
and
2
all
tennis
the
pies. It's like, how are we
yeah,
gonna eat this?
and this is the difference about deliveries in Greece and here. You didn't drive your car to get delivered. You got the scooter, and that's how you delivered it always. And you know the little
Wow.
thing in the back. Like remember the Ninja Turtles? Remember the guy with the
Yeah.
scooter, the first one?
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
concept. Same concept. Everywhere in Greece. So back to Lexico, I think it was he says the 90s video games. Yeah, dude. Like those days are gone, lost, and disappeared.
Mhm.
Even now, if you go to any Pizza Hut, it's not the same. I just want to touch. I want to
Yeah,
just
but it's
touch
like
base
it's
on that.
rarely packed. I mean, very few restaurant chains because I think people's just mindsets have changed. Like people just want to keep moving. You go through the drive-through, you get your stuff, and you kind of keep it moving. The idea of
Totally
some
agree.
and again, a lot of people, quite frankly, you don't want to pay that 20% tip or whatever. Whatever's um people say whatever the standard is, that 20% of it, people don't want to pay that. So I'd rather get my food and go home and eat in the privacy of my home. That seems to be definitely something that I'm seeing more and more people opting to do. If I go out, if for like special occasions or something like that, okay, fine, I'll go out. But just for like an everyday type of dining experience, like a sit down and eat or something, whether it be Pizza Hut, KFC, or whatever. You typically get your stuff, you bring it home, you eat it at home. You find the local and you do that. But actually going to actually sit down and eat, yeah, not as likely as today. But I want to move on a little bit to
Hmm.
we talked a little bit about you're seeing the chain stores, you're seeing the fast food, the franchises that are there. What about the general architecture? Are you seeing like because I know you said like most of the homes are like brick homes and people live
That
on
didn't
top of
change.
each other.
That is a state law. Buildings have to be built by brick, no matter what.
Okay. Okay.
So that didn't change. I think we're the only country that builds our houses on wood. To be honest with you,
Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. But now what about like the cityscape, like Athens? Are there like skyscrapers? Are there like steel and glass kind of buildings, or is it
no,
still
that's still
kind
the
of that?
same. That part stays the same back then. It didn't change. The only thing when I realized that people are still fighting over um which car goes to they pollution in Greece is really bad and the traffic. So you have to they broke it out this way. It depends what number your tags are, you're allowed to travel or not travel. Let's say high numbers can travel this week, low numbers can travel this week.
Really? Just to
Yeah,
deal with the traffic.
go back and
Mhm.
forth.
Mhm.
Every other day they change it. Not
Mhm.
like so. Let's say you have one car, for example,
Mhm.
and you have a high number. You gotta take the public transportation, but because your wife has a low number, you can take her car instead.
Mhm.
And because she's not going in the city, so she doesn't mind switching cars back and forth with you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Even delivery trucks, as a semi.
Right.
If you find out you're not traveling that day and you get called, the ticket is huge. You don't want to get fined. You better just
Right.
park and just wait. Most of them. That's why most of them have like 2 or 3 trucks. Doesn't waiting to change out the loads.
Right. So it seems like to some extent Greece has resisted modernization. Like if you go to like Britain or um even Italy now, it has like these modern Germany definitely. It's a very high tech sort of structures. Asia, China, Japan, and whatnot. They still have some of the classic, or they have hope. They pay homage to the old, but then they've embraced like essentially like the 21st century. It seems like Greece is still kind of stuck in time, like one of those old cities like Prague or something like that, where it's like the city looks like it's still back in the 1900s more so than like a bus high tech type of vibe to it. It doesn't have that kind of. It still has that kind of old country kind of vibe to it still.
The reason I would say that happens is not because they don't want to build nice, beautiful houses. I don't want to say they don't want to upgrade. Is where the hell are you going to put it? We have no room.
Well, that's why I'm paying
Yeah.
attention to the architecture because I'm talking about specifically about commerce and business.
Hmm.
So like if you're like a corporation, like any major city has the same problem in terms of space. Where you're going to build. So in areas like New York and Philly and all these major cities, you build up. And so again, you put 30-story, like, in fact, I probably need to look up like what's the tallest building in Greece. But if is there like a 50-story, 100-story tower or some. So a lot of these modern buildings are going upward and having high capacity volume for businesses to sort of operate in. It seems like Greece, they haven't really embraced that kind of um, initiative to want to draw in businesses, corporations, to embrace that sort of structure, or even for for people to live in. Because I know, like in New York, one thing I noticed when I went back, I worked remotely for over 3.5 years.
Hmm.
And when I went back to the office, so I take the turnpike like every day up north into a Secaucus area, and so I'm very close to like the New York skyline. And one day it dawned on me, this might have been a couple months ago, how much the New York skyline changed. Because I remember for years, like growing up, anytime I went to the city, there were two distinct things that you saw going up the turnpike going to New York. If you look to your right, you saw lower Manhattan, and you saw the World Trade Center, whether it be the original World Trade Center or the Tower One that's there now. And then if you look to your left, you saw the Empire State Building, and a little bit further down, you saw the Chrysler Building. Like those were like the three like major buildings that stuck up above and beyond everything else when you were there.
Now you
Then I
can't tell the
just noticed
difference.
one day, what's that?
Now you can't tell the difference anymore.
Well, because they've built, and I looked this up because one day I was commuting to work and I just noticed, I was like, where all these buildings came from? They've put a skyscraper since 2014 when they built the new tower for the World Trade Tower. When they built one tower, there has been a new skyscraper built in New York City every year since 2014. And it's like every year they just open up a new one. They got a whole structure, living spaces, not just for corporations, but living spaces down there. And there's more to come. In fact, the tallest building in the United States is about to be built in New York City, and I think they break ground on it in 2026. It's going to be the tallest building in the United States, which is currently held by, if it's not one World Trade Center, I think it might be the Sears Tower in Chicago. But this is going to be the tallest building in the country, is on its way to be built in New York City. So again, they've totally embraced, the
Going up.
skyscraper and the landscape, but Greece seems to be not, or Athens, because I'm assuming Athens is the most modern, if I can use that language, more modern city kind of up there, or are there other ones that you may consider more tech savvy or up, state of the art? Would it be Athens, or would you say it's another place?
I would say Athens if I had to guess.
Right. So Athens seems to like they want to, somewhat maintain its cultural status. It doesn't necessarily want to change for, and you go to Athens in a few years, it's like where all these skyscrapers come from. It seems like that's not something that they're necessarily embracing. They want to maintain the historic look, or the charm, if you will, of the city.
Yeah. I think it's a combination of a couple of things. One is
Okay.
the historical fact, because you have historic everywhere. If you start building skyscrapers, you might destroy something you're not supposed to.
Hmm.
Yes, and like here, the National Historical Facility, I think it's called, whatever it's called,
The
protects that stuff.
Preservation Society, I
Thank
guess.
you. It protects it.
Yeah.
And so that
Mhm.
if you're breaking ground and all of a sudden you break ground and all of a sudden you found a tomb or something, you gotta stop what you're doing. They have to come in and figure out how they're gonna get this out, or they're gonna buy your property off you.
Mhm.
That's how serious it is.
Mhm.
And so that's one factor. Two factors, obviously, the room, like I said. And three is I don't see it happening. Personally, I don't see it happening because it's hard. There's no way you can put it. If you go
Mhm.
up, you can go like, okay, this small. You have to buy all the other properties. Are everybody gonna buy
Mhm.
or sell? Because a lot of people won't sell. That's the thing too.
Mhm.
A lot of business won't sell. Tell you right
Mhm.
now.
Right, right. Um, All right, let's a couple more subjects. We're about 30 minutes left in the show tonight. A couple more subjects I want to tackle. Um, what about television? I mean, this might be something that obviously, since you say you do watch a lot of Greek TV and whatnot. Uh, how has television or media I'll just maybe just more generically media, whether it be social media, television, streaming services, um, how has that affected, in your view, how people think, how people operate? Um, yeah, if you talk a little bit about that, and also how's TV changed? Like, is compared to American television, is Greek TV more violent? Is it more explicit? Like I know in some countries, like Australia, for example, they show nudity, for example, on TV
Hmm.
in Australia because it's like the soap operas, they have nudity in them. It's they're not as strict on some of those social mores as certainly not as here and whatnot. So talk a little bit about how television maybe has changed a little bit in Greece, or how media in general has affected how people live and how they process information in Greece. From your perspective, how would you say that that works?
So when I was in Greece, when I was born, raised and all that stuff,
Hmm.
it was very free, open market kind of thing. Like if it was a sex scene, it was not gonna be like rated, or rated X, for example, or rated men for mature, right? There, you can watch the sex scene right there. Whatever. You can turn it on, and after midnight, it was all the porn comes on. You flip the channel, like I got
What
porn
it's
back.
what it's but it's free there, or is it like you need cable or something?
No, it's free.
Wait a minute. Well, actually, we got to change that. Corn was free to watch after midnight in Greece on regular public television back then.
Yep.
Wow, wow. So you got fathers take their kids to brothels at age 16 to give them that carnal education,
Hmm.
and there's free access to pornography after midnight on the local on the TV set. You don't have to buy. See, back in the day, we used to have to buy something like the Playboy channel or some adult channel, part of your cable package, if you want to see explicit content and whatnot. But you're
It gets better.
saying it's 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 open access over there
Hmm.
to watch that stuff.
Yeah.
Wow,
When I was
that is
younger.
very different.
Yeah. Like even in buying a Playboy, if you were, let's say, 12 years old, for argument's sake, they wouldn't question it. They'll buy it. Here's your money. Here's my money. Have a good day, boy.
So they weren't checking ID.
No. ID didn't come to later after I left Greece. Remember that. They started cracking
Right.
down later.
Okay.
So if I had to guess, I'm not guess. This is my real opinion. Is earlier you're exposed to things, more mature you become, and more responsible you get.
Mm,
That's
mm.
my opinion. Always like, and people hear about the drink. Oh, to age limit. How dare they're like, no.
I hear that a
How,
lot. Yeah,
how many DWIs do we have? How many fatal accidents do we have in Greece? Look the
I hear that
statistics.
a lot. But but to your point, like it's part of the culture. Like
Yeah.
drinking like wine, for example, kids like are given like a glass one. They're not gonna give you a bottle and just let you run off with it. But again, the fact that it's introduced early in their lives, it's definitely part of the culture. I'd be curious, anyone in the chat who has some experience with that, or from a different culture, whatnot, where alcohol or certain things are introduced to kids at a young age. I'd be curious to know about that, because that is a major difference that I've seen, and certainly even Americans have adopted to certain extents, that don't try to keep your kids away from alcohol or whatnot. Let them have when they're 12, 13, 14 years old or whatnot, so that when they start drinking legally, they're not just like, oh, let me run out and get it. That's a different philosophy here, but I hear it so much in other countries for people I've known over the years, that they introduce things like wine or beer or something like that. It's not a big deal because they don't make it a big deal. So I'd be curious to know, for those who have heard that from other countries, or if that was how you might have been raised in your family in terms of that sort of thing. I'd be curious to know about. I'd be curious to know about that. But so you're saying now, you were saying that back then the TV was could be pretty explicit back then in the 90s or whatever.
Yeah.
So how is it now? If is it has it gotten worse? Is it more censorship now,
Oh,
or
it's a
is it
lot sensitive now. 100% sensitive now.
so they
Like
actually
I
they
even
went
the opposite.
the other way. They've
Yeah.
actually shut a lot of that stuff down. Whereas back in the day growing up, that all that stuff was open access and nobody.
Yep.
What do you think happened in the interim? Like what was the did the church
Politicians.
get involved or the
Politicians, not churches, politicians. It's
really?
always the politicians
Yeah, but
saying,
politicians play to a base though. So who is somebody politicians always benefit from somebody who's stuffing the coffers. I don't know. Was it the Orthodox Church who said, "Hey, we can't have this"? Was it
I
the
think it's
who
the
was
politician looked at it like somebody came like a lot of politicians who are in Greece right now are usually from states from here. They grew up here, they were the politicians here for a while,
really
then they go over there and they wanted to change their country. One of the presidents was a business CEO. I'm not sure which one it was, a CEO businessman in the United States in New York City. He retired early because most those guys retire early,
right?
and the seat of presidency was open, and they begged them pretty much, please come back to the country, you become our next president, because we think running the country like a business is what we need.
Right, right.
He
And
denied
so
it.
now do Greeks are you allowed to have dual citizenship or
I have
what's
it.
the you have dual but is that common? They don't make you if you grow up in America whatever, but you can prove that you're of Greek origin, your family's from Greece, they allow you to have dual citizenship here or
Yeah,
they don't
no big deal about it,
right.
because
And
it's a little different here and there. At least
mhm,
he hasn't proven he was raised in Greece. He went to the military, all this stuff. That's stuff they really care about.
mhm,
To become a president wise, like here, same thing. You have to at least born in the country, prove this.
right, right.
The president can go live somewhere else for a couple of years and come back and
Sure,
then run for
sure.
president.
Right.
The president can be lived here and lived in Greece, for example, and had a sister in Greece. Doesn't stop him running to be a president later on.
Right, right.
There's
There's
no
no
law
yes,
against
no
that I know of, at
constitutional,
least.
yeah. I was just thinking more in terms of how the people looked at it. Like if
Yeah.
this like a Greek American came over to run for the presidency of the country, then what people's attitude would be like, well, look, he's not even one of us. He's an American guy. What does he know
Mhm.
about Greece and what does he know about our issues and whatnot? So why would we vote for him? So you would think that it would be, I'm just curious that, how the people accept that from what you're saying, though. People don't really care that you grew up in a part of America and whatnot, or they don't have that kind of nationalism where it's like it has to be somebody who knows us, and whatnot. That person can be from anywhere.
I think it's more yes and no to that. I think it's yes, they need somebody. They want a first blood, because most of the politicians, like one of the couple of the last presidents when I grew up in my time in there
Mhm.
in Greece, it was the same president year after year after year after year after year after year.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
there in the throne for it was his father, then the son, then the grandson went into it.
Okay,
And after
okay.
the grandson, because the grandson was shipped to here to go to school and learn politicians here.
Mhm.
Then when he was done with school, he moved back to Greece. That's common, people going to abroad for
Sure,
schooling.
sure.
And when he started fucking things up and his hands was in anybody's pocket, anybody in his pocket kind of thing, they find out it got leaked out, and he goes, we're done with these guys. Let's get it
Right.
out. And this is the
Now, does
same.
Greece have like a parliamentary system? How many like political parties operate in Greece? And is it more like British Parliament where you have like several different parties, or how's the
There's several parts like here is runs like more like here, pretty much almost
I mean
similar.
here, but we're mostly a two parties. I mean, even though you have
That's where I was
Green
going
Party
to.
and whatnot, it's mostly like a two-party
We
system
do
for the
have
most part.
4 parts that I remember of, but there were 2 major ones, 2 big ones.
Right.
And those were like Korea means a new republic
Hmm.
is the biggest one. I can't remember
Hmm.
the other one off my head, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
But those are the 2 major ones that everybody knew about, everybody kept their eye on, and everybody voted for. There
Hmm.
are 2 other small ones, and we're like,
Hmm.
they're not small, but they are small still to the media eye, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah. Do they have like a parliamentary sort of sessions? Like I don't know if have you ever seen British Parliament? on
A little
TV.
bit, yeah.
Yeah, that I think is the dopest system. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect, but the fact that you have like the prime minister has to stand up and on the fly and have to defend positions that are coming from the Congress. If we had something like that here, that'd be like the greatest thing. You imagine the president would have to members of Congress or whatever, he would have to be in the chamber and people raise questions and they got to go back and forth and defend the positions. I would love to see something like that here. I don't think it would ever happen, but I like how the British do it, even though it doesn't always yield a result. But I used to watch it on C-SPAN like all the time, and I always thought it was fascinating in terms of how they pull that off. But back to the television. So you're saying that now things have become more strict, more PC. Is this reflected in terms of how people operate, like in terms of like conversations? Are things that you may have said back when you were a kid are a certain language now that's acceptable or not acceptable at this point? Are people more, reserved in terms of not being, because even though you said there's a lot of gossip and people like to talk there, but are people more apt to resist saying certain things that may have been acceptable back when you were back when either the first time or in the times that you been there since? Have they become more PC as a culture, you think?
Oh yeah, some things are definitely PC. I watch it live downstairs my mother's TV because I have Last TV Max is called
Right,
the streaming service she uses, and this is you gotta get now an hour behind or delay whatever. Therefore, one
right, right,
channel is four different versions of it,
right,
and depends what you're watching and what time. You might get
right,
the rated M for mature kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
right.
They're accepting two adults like you're watching like a series, whatever series it was. Let's say uh a series about a couple or billionaire, people with money, for example. There was one series like that. And they
Mhm,
were a whole full sex scene. And you see them like going really at it. They're not
mhm,
actually having sex, but close
right,
to it. The only thing they're literally covering themselves up in the down there area
yeah,
is
yeah,
little duct tape. That's it.
right, right.
And they're humping and everything. I'm
Mhm,
like, kind of like pretty much like dry humping, pretty much, if you want to
yeah,
call it.
yeah, right.
And now they cut that back completely. Like you might hear a little moaning, a little touching, a little kissing, maybe a boob here, a boob there, but that's it.
Mhm.
Nothing more than that.
And again, that was then. You'll still see that today. Is that in current?
Yes, I'm talking about current right now.
Right, right. And there's no restriction. There's no again, no premium channel where you see that could still be um an open TV that a kid can watch if their parents. Now, are parents typically that strict? Just like you talked about with the alcohol, are parents more apt to let their kids like watch that kind of content so it doesn't like shock them, I guess, when they get older? I mean, is that a Greek parents generally a bit more loose when it comes to monitoring what their kids are
In
watching
my
and stuff?
experience, me personally, they were very loose with me. Like you can watch whatever you want. My dad was like,
Mhm.
You're gonna be exposed to this no matter what." So he didn't care. He took me to rated R movies a lot of times, and when I shouldn't be in rated R movies.
Mhm, mhm.
I saw The Demolition Man, for example, the whole sex scene. Like,
Right,
like I
right,
was
right,
I was very young when that movie came out.
right.
I should have been in that movie theater. I still watched it. So I want to say yes, but that's my parents.
Mhm.
It's same here. Every parent's gonna be a little different. Some people are like, "Oh no, no, my son's not gonna watch that." I'm like, I
Well,
don't.
that's what I'm asking you, like, in terms of Greek culture in general, are they typically less, um, um, puritanical, I guess, than where
I'll
we
put it
are
this way:
here? Yeah.
I will. I can sit. I can remember sitting on the table, with hanging out with my friends, and they're talking about penises, fucking, and all this stuff, and just having a plain conversation. So it's very blunt.
Right, right, right. But I was more so like I said, the media, like in terms of what you allow your kids to be exposed to. The impression that I'm getting is that Greeks people are generally more open and they're not so. In fact, there was a comment that Blaze had. I want to address it. He said, I think he said, growing up, depending on your surroundings, you get offered to take a swig of liquor. Majority of the time, these were grown adults, but weren't your adults or outside of or, not your parents. So yeah, I mean, even here, people have different views in terms of how should you expose your kids to liquor early, or should you restrict it until okay, you got to be over 18 or 21 or whatever the legal drinking age. And I know religion also plays a factor in that in terms of what people allow their kids to do and not to do. But it definitely seems like where Greece is seems to be a bit more open society, and it certainly may go to the point to say as much as we try to restrict here, because I always think like America, we're kind of bipolar over here, in terms of we're puritanical on one end, says no, you can't see that, but we're very pornographic on the other end, where everything goes. And so it's like we're wrestling with these issues when it comes to sex education and sexuality and things of that nature. Whereas Greece, it seems to be people are more, it is what it is. You're gonna learn it one way or another, and so it seems like people are going to be more involved in your in letting you see these things and not sort of demonize stuff. It seems to be the comment. Ekane
Yeah, I
had a
was.
comment. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I actually want to touch. I can explain that, but yeah, they're pretty open with some of this stuff. Like you're going to be exposed to it. Why hide behind false statements? Just open the world to, because the world is not an easy place out there. We all know this. It's a scary and fucked up place.
Hmm.
It's going to chew you and spit you out.
Hmm.
So why protect a child for so young? And I think you have to protect them for some things, but drinking is one thing you should not protect. I'm like, okay, you want to take a shot of my beer? Go ahead, take a taste. What's it
Hmm.
gonna hurt? It's not gonna hurt
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Now back to the TV thing, because we talked about like sort of sexual content. What about violence? Um, Gun violence or things, is that something that's pretty common in Greek TV or movies
They're
or
in the
things
movies all over the place. So there are
right.
a lot of shows, a lot of movies. But one thing we touched base on my stream last night on the Hangout, we talked about the gun laws in Greece. There's not a lot of gun violence in Greece. You're not gonna go grab your gun and blow somebody's brains out because he was sleeping with my wife or he owes me money.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
work like that.
Now, actually, I'll
So
talk about that. I'll talk about the process, which for some reason we can't
that's
have
what I was
over
getting
here.
into.
Talk about the process that one needs to go through to get a gun
Okay.
in Greece.
So first of all, they don't look in background. They don't care about your background checks, stuff like that. You could, because things happen in life. It's something you can control. Maybe you're a little punk ass, or you got mixed in the wrong crowd.
Hmm.
Things happen in life, so that's gonna be out of the equation. Because as you get older, you mature. Let's say you wanted a gun now. All right, you want it for hunting or self defense. You live in the forest, whatever the case is. Number one, you got to apply for your permit. Number one, all right. And once you get
Hmm.
approved for your permit, then you have to go through a psycho evaluation. So you have to pass the cycle first, number one, because they have to make sure you're not cuckoo for cocoa pops. You're not trying to kill the whole goddamn state out.
So they
Okay,
don't care necessarily about your background,
correct.
if you might have had a record or not, but they will still give you a psych eval
Yes.
in making the determination. Okay.
Also depends what is on your background, if how recent and stuff like that. Like they're not gonna crucify you if somebody was like you were 19
Yeah,
and
you
you're
were
applying
19,
for
you were 30,
45.
and yeah, you served your
Yeah, I'm
time.
saying.
Yeah.
So there'll be a section that explain why, and you get in details, or you talk to the whoever doing your permit, the cop, and he goes, okay, let's he figures it out. Then you have to go to your explain to them. I was young, I didn't know it, and they
Mhm.
understand
Yeah.
that.
Right.
Then you have to go through a training course,
Mhm.
and then you have a training course, a safety and a fire one. And you probably went through this in military, no matter what,
Mhm.
but they want you to do it again. What I
Mhm.
liked about it mostly is the background. We all know background checks and gun laws don't actually work. Let's
Mhm.
be honest here for a minute.
Mhm.
But what I do like is the psyche evaluation, because it gives you the little bit. I know it's not self proof, that is never, but it gives you the little
Right.
insurance I felt.
Right.
Okay, are you giving somebody a gun? Because you cannot fake that. They
True.
can read you right through that. They know
Right.
how to break you. They know how to ask a question several ways, the different ways, and ask you the same thing. Like, are you going to do this? Are you going to do it? You know what I'm trying to say.
Mhm. Yeah.
I like the psycho violation, to be honest. I think we
Yeah,
need that here.
I think that would, yeah. I mean, especially when you've seen in this country all the recent mass shootings or whatnot, and you realize that a lot of these people were, especially if they're ex-military or stuff like that. Yeah, a lot
Mhm.
of these guys come out, they're not necessarily whole when they're coming out, and so should these people even have access to firearms based on their situation or whatever. Yeah, some of the most tragic mass shootings were for people who were again psychologically seemed like they were they shouldn't have had access to those weapons. And in one case, you had the mom actually bought the kids up in Connecticut. The mom actually bought the son who she knew was disturbed, bought him the gun, and said, "Oh, this will be a good, this will be a
Really?
good thing for him.
That's
Give him
yeah,
a
that's
hobby,
smart.
give him an activity to do." And you sort of see that.
Listen, I go with my best friend ski shooting once in a while,
Mhm,
and it's fun. It's great. Guns can be
mhm,
fun, but in a safe environment. But
yeah,
I'm not saying you go as a parent like yourself, Paul. Like you go buy your daughter a gun. Who knows? She's not doesn't know anything about guns. She's not safe with it, and she's not okay up there.
mhm,
No, this is why I say all the time, gun laws don't fucking work. I don't care
mhm,
any cop come up here tell me that. I'll tell them in his
mhm,
face anytime. They don't work.
mhm, mhm. Gotcha. All right, so just wanted to address a point Ekene made as far as the difference between Parliament and the U.S. I mean, obviously, the British Prime Minister is not the head of the state and commander in chief, whereas the president is. That is true. I'm just saying from a standpoint of the exercise that they do regarding the debate process. In other words, to win, because you're also showing this to the nation as well. If you want to show your competence, how you deal with questions that are thrown at you, and not everything is scripted before you. I've always appreciated how the British do that, and they're able to, let debate the issues out in the open. Here, I mean, so many deals and stuff is done in the back rooms, and nobody knows what's really going on. So it's just something that I like. At least it gives the impression that the British parliamentary system is a bit more transparent. So that's definitely why I mentioned it. Couple additional comments from Blaze. Social media has played a role when it comes to parents. Yeah, he's in the to route parents choose to take with their children. Definitely. But again, I think that certainly some of the exchange nowadays, the parents are just as impressionable as the children, and oftentimes their children's friend instead of the parent. Yes, I mean that's also reality also. But I think that again, if you look at these other cultures, and these are things that have been long standing for a while, again, how children are raised, what they're exposed to at different ages, it's certainly different. This is long before social media. And so, what I like about having these shows and having these discussions is to see how other people think. And because we make these assumptions, well, if you expose your kids to it, then they'll be addicted to it. Or if you expose your kids to it, then they'll become violent. Or if you expose your kids to certain things too early, things will happen. And it's not necessarily true, at least from the discussions that we've been having in every culture and every society. So again, some things are told to us that this is how things are, but in other cultures, again, a lot of them don't have the problems that we do. And so again, hearing how other people's perspectives in terms of how they go about parenting, again, through communication. I agree with you on one thing, the social media aspect of it. Yeah, I mean, people are just picking things up, but I do wish people would just have conversations with people, a group, an ethnic group that you may not know, and just get their perspective in terms of how they go about doing things. We can all learn from one another in this space, but I think social media kind of puts things out there, and it may not even be the real. People are just putting things out there because it feeds the algorithm, but it may not be necessarily done in practice. So so having this kind of discussion is what I think is really important. But we got about 10 minutes left in the show.
Before we move on,
Um,
I want
yeah,
to
yeah, go
place a
ahead.
statement that myself. As connected we are, we're so disconnected at the same time
Definitely.
because we're so cold to each other now. Like you're screaming somebody over a text or over social media, calling them out. What happened the old days? You used to go scream out in their face and duke it out and then be your best friend and have a beer afterwards.
Mm,
Just saying.
yeah. Just some final thoughts from your end. So, and this you might be transition to like the last time you were there visiting. What are some of the takeaways that like things that really kind of shock you, like in terms of how much Greece has changed And it could be for the good, it could be for the better. In fact, if you have one perspective on both, what did you see that's positive in Greece that you think is good for the country? And where do you think, from what you've seen when you went there, that's really, it's like, you see it going backwards, like things that, your top things that really stuck out to you, that left an impression on you, and that, and what to expect when you do go back in the next couple of years, when you do go back, what do you expect to see? Again, I know you talked about the recent decisions in Greece towards gay marriage. I don't know what effect that's going to have, when you go back. Are you going to see something that's totally different, or what to expect there? But just based on your experience, so pick something that's good, that you think is beneficial, that's different, that you think is a positive for change that you've seen in Greece since the last time you were there, and something not so good, something that really shocked you
I think
when
there's a
you were there.
double-edged sword
Hmm.
because the technology has improved so much down there to the point like we're almost like equal with us here
Hmm.
in the States. Not always, but some things.
Right,
But also at the same time, I think it's bad for the country because it's moving too fast for people to keep up.
right, right.
So people who are not tech savvy like myself and you can live in the dust, and next minute, their jobs are, job is gone for them because that's what they make their money off. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
technology could be a evil thing
Hmm.
and a good thing.
Right,
And I'll leave it
right.
there.
Yeah. And do you see that people are, well, again, since, because the crazy thing about technology is, so you were last there maybe what, 8, 9 years ago? You were
Something
there?
like that, yeah.
So again, the change in technology is being so swift that you think, oh, it's been maybe 10 years since I've been there, but it could be totally transformed since you've been there. I know you keep up with, again, Greek TV and whatnot, but
Mhm.
that might be something, maybe as an epilogue. Maybe we can even open up to next week's show. We can maybe open up with that a little bit in terms of what your friends who are on the ground, so to speak, what have they've seen in the last even 5 years, that, again, something may be good for Greece, something not so good for Greece, how people interact, again, with the social media, with the phones and whatnot. Are people, because again, you get the impression Greeks are very social, very connected, very communal. Is that having a negative impact, where people are being more isolated, more staying at home, more into themselves, even when you're in conversation, you're not, because someone's looking down at their cell phone while you're having a conversation.
You know
I'll
what?
be in,
I have a great idea.
mm,
I'm gonna call it backup this time.
okay,
I'm gonna call my boy Dimitri. He lives in the States. He just went to Greece recently. He's
okay.
similar as me. Grew up in Greece, came here as but he a little different. He grew up all the way to Greece, did his whole thing in Greece, and then he came here as an adult.
Mhm.
So let me see if he's free next Sunday and see if he can
Sure,
jump on
that'd
with
be
us.
great. Yeah, yeah, we can certainly, as a sort of an epilogue to this show,
Mm.
um, and then we can even talk about the sense from your perspective, again, Americanization. So for next week's show, again, the mindset of a Greek American versus someone born and raised in Greece, someone who still is a major part of Greek culture. What are the differences there, in terms of mindset, in terms of perspective, how you think, how your values, how they've changed? Even if you're going to church, like going to a Greek Orthodox church in Greece versus a church here. I think Father Casadino talked about, when you're here, it's going to be a diverse. You have non-Greeks in the church. You
Yep.
have different backgrounds of different people or whatnot. So he has, in many ways, he has like a multi-ethnic, multicultural church, even if it's all under Greek Orthodox. Whereas in Greece, you're probably less likely to see something like that. So again, what's it like? And you might even want to ask the question next time you talk to them. What's it like to minister a church in Greece, where you have a much more homogenous sort of population, versus in America, where you have, you know, the
I
you
don't think
know
he's the proper person to ask that question because
he
he's
never,
been
right. He
here.
I know he grew up here, but I'm just saying, I'm just sort of thinking aloud here.
Yeah.
because again, he may talk to other, I don't know what connections he has. He may know,
Yep.
just like you have your friend that you might want to bring on next week. He may know of pastors in Greece and what that dynamic is like to, how that church operates. It could be very different. And that's one thing we didn't talk about. And I don't know if at the times that you went, did you go to church a lot when you were in Greece, when you went home?
I went all the
Uh,
time.
okay. So did you, all right. So maybe we could just end on that as a final thought. As far as your, uh, 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 church, is it pretty much the same, or is it a little different flavor going to church in Greece versus here, even if it's all Greek Orthodox or
Okay,
Orthodox
so
church?
that's actually a very easy an education question. Church in Greece is one, obviously just Greeks.
Mhm.
The vibe, best way I can explain it, when I was growing up till I went to Greece the first time to the second time, it's the same. Nothing ever changed in that part.
Mm. Right.
The only thing that changes is the different priests. They rotate priests, some got transferred and all that stuff.
Mhm. Right.
But the feeling, being at church, how big it is. Think of the Catholic Church here,
Yeah.
but in Greece.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to leave one note, because most people think Greece is the first Orthodox country that approves same sex marriage, and that is not facts.
Mhm.
I actually looked into it very deeply. Is it other countries? I just don't remember off my head right now. I have my notes in some other another
Right.
page I have to pull up.
Right.
But Greece was not the first Orthodox country. I'm actually looking into bringing in somebody else a little more educated and
Okay.
more professional, I want to say, with this than I am.
Right. Right.
So I'm doing a little more research to see if I can get him on. Obviously, I got to say yes first before I say yes.
Right. Right. Awesome. Yeah, definitely definitely looking forward to that. And we can even touch on that next week also. I want to visit that church. So again, in Greece, you don't see a lot of variance or difference. Just the people may change, but the experience and whatnot is pretty much the same. But in America, like going to a Greek or an Orthodox church here in America, do they pretty much keep it kind of even keel also, or is it a different worship experience in Greece versus here? That might be something we can kind of also in the intro next week, we can kind of lead with some of that. And again, talking specifically about that idea of Americanization, has being in America, how does that affect the worship experience of a Greek person? Maybe we can spend some time to and lead with that. And prior to the show, let's have a conversation. Maybe that Saturday if you're available, and we can just kind of flesh some of these things out before we kick the show off. I think that'd be we can definitely make it. We can tighten that up.
Saturday's gonna be a little hard. I have my stream on Saturday,
Yeah, or
but
Friday night or
Sunday,
whatever. But yeah,
yeah,
let's try to let's try to touch base in a week, and we can sort
yeah.
of flesh
I
out
will
those.
text you during the week and figure out, what time we're gonna bring our heads together, like to the noggins and cling.
No clink.
Yeah.
Just iron sharpening iron. We want to make
Maybe
this.
when when I feed this, luscious beard, come towards your way, maybe we can start. Hey, have you grow? I just want to see you try grow once under
Again,
my sensei-ness.
I'm a convert. Again, I live this lifestyle. I'm a follically free
I'm not
person.
gonna give up on you.
So it's like religion.
Listen, the hair
That'd be
I
like
can't
me
do
trying
anything
to
about.
take you.
The face hair I can do
That'd be
something about.
like me trying to take you away from the Orthodox Church and make you a Baptist or something like
I'm
that.
not taking you anywhere. I just want you to try. I just want you to try it once. You may like it. You never know.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see about that. But I feel like a traitor to the cause at that point.
You're not,
So
because you still have the bald head.
that
But
is
actually, is a big thing. Beard and beard, folded and beautiful is the thing. Look
that is
into it.
true.
You're the president. You need to look into this.
That is true. That is true. All right. All right. Well, thank you again, once again, everyone, for joining us this evening. Just some final shout outs before we leave. As always, my boy, my follically free brother, Trey Ferg. Thank you for, again, stopping in tonight. Yes, again, prayers. Shout out to Lady Novoa for everything, for your family and everything that's going on. Again, pray that you guys have peace in the situation. Marriages, politics, and sports. Thank you for stopping by. Also, tomorrow night, just to give a quick plug for Marriage, Politics, and Sports on Monday nights at 8 p.m. He's having the show. If you want to quickly, if you're still on, if you want to drop in the chat, because I thought I remember what your show was, or maybe I can even pull it up real quick. I just want to give you a quick plug for your show and see what's coming up.
Actually, now I remember, I can actually join tomorrow's show because I'm
Yeah,
off.
but I think it's dealing with Sierra. I think Russell Wilson and Sierra. I think it was something. Yeah, he's talking about how there was a recent interview that Russell Wilson did, and he said that he believes that God called him to be a stepfather. And I think part of the show is going to be talking about that.
Yep.
And it's an interesting. I saw the interview. I thought it was a great interview, and obviously, they seem to be in a very good place. Family's kind of whole, and in the situation. I think the thing he's worrying about is where his next football team will be. It won't be with Denver. He might be coming to Pittsburgh. We never know. But certainly Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Our brother R. Payne, he's going to be having the show tomorrow night. So definitely. But guys, if you have some time, feel free to drop on through. He usually drops a link. He has his opening. He always he's an engineer, so he has to have his opening first, and then he drops the link for guys to join the conversation. So definitely shout out to R. Payne and for his show tomorrow, which will probably be simulcast both on his channel and on the BMU network. And I think as I was saying on your show the other night, it's really cool now that you have a lot of content creators who have their own channels, but they're also plugging in and simulcasting with the BMU network as well. So again, each channel is helping one another to grow and get traction. But for everyone who stopped through tonight, again, thank you. Enjoy your work week that's coming up. We're already in March already. It's like the year's like a quarter over already. So this year is flying, and certainly. But the weather's, hopefully get a little nicer. Hopefully I can put my winter coats away and not have to worry about any major snowstorms coming up. And, but again, enjoy your work week. Enjoy your families. We'll see you in these YouTube streets again throughout the week. Again, grooming. He has a show on Wednesday night. He has a show that's coming up talking about AI and the good, the bad, and the ugly. Concerning that, I don't know. You want to just do a quick plug?
This Wednesday we're talking about on the Spartan Arena AI friend of foe.
Yeah,
Part 1. Part 2 is going to be on Saturday. Again, AI friend of foe. Let's find out. Come in and let's duke it out.
Sounds good. So again, BMU, again, we have a lot of content, a lot of shows going on. We have something for everybody. Essentially, pretty much every day of the week is pretty much covered where there's a show going on. So definitely continue to support the BMU network. If you become a subscribe, not only subscribe to the channel, but also become a member of the channel. I'm a member of the channel, and because I support what he's doing. So again, being a member, you support the show monthly. So support, become a member of the channel as well. We definitely want to grow this network, and we want to make it everything that it needs to be. But for everyone who's joined us tonight, again, I am Mr. Bennett. He is Grooming and Reviews, aka the Ghost of Sparta. This is the gray area. We hope you enjoyed the conversation, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Until then, take care. And how do you? You gotta give me my word. How do you say goodbye or farewell?
Adio.
Like adios. Just adios without the S on it. Just drop the S. Adio.
Yep.
Adio. Okay, so until next time, adio. We'll see you then. Take care.
Canita.
Subscribe now.